So hello everyone, thank you for joining this webinar. I am Ishita Gupta and I am the Student Placement Coordinator here at SOIL. And today with me joining is Harshita, who is also our Student Council member. So in this webinar, we're going to be primarily talking about why it was beneficial for us to choose a one-year MBA over a two-year MBA. Yeah, and we're going to talk about some of the key points of this. And then towards the end, we'll open the session for Q&A. Right, and so let's begin the webinar. And to begin with, we'll start with our introductions. Harshita, do you want to go first?
You can start, Ishita.
Yeah. So I'm Ishita and I joined SOIL PGPM a year ago. I am doing my PGPM in marketing and my minor is analytics. So prior to this, I was actually a travel consultant with a leading travel firm. I would mainly focusing on B2C and B2B sales. And after that, during the pandemic, I was also training. I was a German language coach at an edtech. And during this journey at SOIL, I got placed at a Fortune 500 company. And I'm just waiting to join the company. That should be in May or June. And yeah, so that's about me. I'm also a placement coordinator here at SOIL. So yeah, Harshita, over to you.
Thank you, Ishita. So hello, everyone. My name is Harshita Agrawal. So I joined PGPM last year, like a one-year program. Before that, I was working in an IT firm as an associate consultant. So I worked there for 3 years. And after that, I joined SOIL. And here I'm placed in another IT firm as a business analyst. And here I'm also the member of the student council committee. Like when you'll get to student council committee is responsible for managing the things related to students here. So yeah, that's it about me.
Yeah. So I think today's webinar focuses on a very important question, and a question that all of us have before we join an MBA, especially the ones who have WorkX, right? That is whether I should choose a one-year MBA or a two-year MBA. And there are a lot of apprehensions and anxieties that students have with respect to a one-year MBA. And hopefully through this webinar, we may be able to mitigate any of those anxieties that you may have with regards to a one-year MBA. Yeah. So Harshita, do you want to share the next slide?
Yeah, just a second, Ishita.
Yeah. So before both Harshita and I have 3+ years of WorkX. And before we joined SOIL, even we were sort of revolving around this question, PGPM or PGDM, which is 1 year or 2 year, right? And now that we've come to almost the end of this journey, we are very happy that we went for a 1-year MBA because there were so many perks about it. And the learning that we've had, or the kind of people we've become, or the kind of professionals we have become because we did a 1-year MBA is something so different. And I don't think we would have been able to achieve that much with a 2-year MBA, right? Yeah, you may just want to maximize it. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so there are a lot of perks, right, or a lot of advantages to a 1-year MBA program, and we've managed to list down a few over here. Right. So the first advantage and the first sort of aspect or parameter that we judge an MBA is through an ROI, right? Now, the ROI in a 1-year MBA is far better than that in a 2-year MBA, and I'll tell you why. So, in a 1-year MBA, whatever average that the college promises you, you earn that a year in advance, right? So, whatever the average amount is, right? So, you earn that 1 year in advance. It is apart from besides waiting for 2 years, you earn that in 1 year, right? So it is that average for that 1 year that you are saving, right? Or that you are earning extra. So that way the ROI becomes better, and through that, by virtue of that, you are able to pay off your student loans or any of that, maybe in a year or in a year and a half, right? Would you want to add on to that, Harshita?
So basically what Ishita mentioned about the ROI, so it's like you'll get you're earning 1 year beforehand. So that is, it will be easier for you because it happens that some people take loans for their for the learning and everything. So you'll get better returns for that, and you'll be easily able to pay off that. So it is a good ROI which if you're having for a 1 year program.
Yeah. And also one of the perks is that you get into the industry a lot quicker. So instead of a 2 year gap, which can be slightly, slightly longer, right? You get back into the industry a year in advance, especially because you already come from the industry. So the gap between working, right, is far less, because let's face it, after you've studied, getting back to into the industry can be quite difficult. Going from being a student to a professional, that can be quite difficult. So here you do that in a gap of only a year, right, instead of 2 years. So there's, it's not that lethargy sets in, or you have any apprehensions of becoming a professional again or stepping into the corporate again. You come from a corporate, you study for a year, and then you're back into the industry. So that has its own advantages, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
adding on to what Ishita mentioned, like there are even people who have longer work experience, they come for a 1 year MBA program because they know that it's been quite long when they haven't studied it. And for them to get in a 2 year program, it is difficult because to match up with that, like the studies and everything, it is difficult because long back we have stopped studying and everything. So for why choose 1 year MBA is that it is very easier for you to just cover up the 1 year gap because the course is so fast paced, you won't get time like as Ishita mentioned, that lethargic way won't be there. So you'll be fully occupied with all the things that is happening, and also you'll be engaged over that because when we are working, we have that schedule that we all the time we're engaged in some or the other activities, and we won't feel that. So the 1 year program is almost like a fast paced program which keeps us going around.
Yeah.
So that is one thing, that if you have a longer work experience, you can go for that as well.
Yeah. And also, one of the points that just hit me was that the industry today, especially after the pandemic, is changing at a very fast pace. There are new tech innovations that are happening by the minute, right? So, also that gap of, so, it could be very possible that the technology that you worked on, right, a year prior would become redundant now, right? So that technological gap that you may also face, that also reduces, right? So imagine going working on a whole new technology 2 years later versus working on a whole new technology 1 year later, right? So that transition or that shift also becomes easier with a 1 year MBA. Yeah, you may want to take up the work experience point, which personally for me was also the highlight or the prime reason why I chose a 1 year MBA.
Yeah, like work experience, for most of us, the work experience is like the basic reason why we choose 1 year MBA over the 2 year MBA, because we have worked so much time, spent so much in the industry, and we know how the industry works. And taking a break, like 2 years break, can be difficult for all of us, like Ishita mentioned, to cope up with the changes that is happening in the industry. So with 1 year MBA, we are, with our studies as well, we are inclined towards like what the new technology is happening and everything. So that adds a extra benefit for us. And also our work ex is like basically what happens if we have worked for so long, so it doesn't feel for us to go and study again. That is the something, like we have stopped studying and again studying and everything for again 2 year program. It becomes like a very hectic process and we don't incline ourselves. So that is one thing, like if we have a work experience, we just want to go back to the industry, just gain our gain our learnings from your 1 year learning, and then go back to the industry and start our work back. So that is something which the work experience part adds to. Ishita, if you want to add something.
Yeah. So, the beauty of a 1 year program is that it is generally open to professionals who already have, say, 2, 3, 4+ years of work ex, right? So, your classroom will have only working professionals, right? Now, why that is important or why that is beneficial is because, so imagine you're working on a case study, right? And there's someone who has already worked on, who has already faced that particular issue that the case study is addressing. Now, their inputs will be far better, right, than your inputs, right? And because of that, by virtue of that, you learn a lot. So tomorrow, when you step back into the industry, right, and there's a similar problem, then okay, this is what that person told me, and probably I should apply that because they applied it and that helped them, right? That helped them solve their issue. So that is the beauty of a 1 year program. You meet working professionals who have worked across different sectors. So for example, in our cohort, we have someone who is a lawyer, we have someone who is a CA, we have someone who's worked in construction, right? I myself was a teacher back, prior to this. Harshita has worked in tech, right? So imagine the kind of skill sets that your cohort has, and the kind of skill sets that you can sort of imbibe from them. Yeah. So that is very beneficial. For example, in our project management class, right, there were 2 or 3 project managers already. So there were 2 or 3 people who had already been project managers. So their inputs during the class discussions that we heard were tremendous and helped us a lot. And those are the learnings that I personally will never forget. So that is the beauty of a 1 year program, and that you cannot get in a 2 year program, because of course in a 2 year program, the structure is different. It's mostly open for freshers, right? So that is what happens here. Yeah.
Also, one thing that I want to add over here, like MBA, it is more about peer learning,
Yeah.
basically. So the more you get interaction with your peers, the more you get to know them, and the vast experience that you have, diverse experience, and people with vast experience. Because if you're because we have work experience, we are only inclined towards one industry. Like if I'm a tech, I am from tech background. I have experience in technology and everything. I know what happens in an IT firm, what how we deal with the things in IT firm. But I don't have something like in the same situation may arise in other industry, maybe manufacturing industry, maybe in the construction field, and how people deal with that situations. Because you see, as Ishita mentioned about the project management, there were different project management. So it is like how we deal in IT as a project manager, how we deal in construction, how we deal in manufacturing. There are 3 different aspects, and we'll learn from all the 3 aspects. Like, and even there might be situations when we have to apply that and we have to learn from that. So it is very important that if we have a diverse background, and 1 year MBA is like you will get to know people. You'll have a reach. You'll have a far better reach among the people, because you know that these people are from this industry, these people are from this industry, and you can learn from that. That is what 1 year MBA program majorly helps you of building a network among various industries.
Drawing on all my personal experience also. So for example, during placements, I was sitting for an IT firm, but I myself did not have an IT experience. So what do? I go to my friends like Harshita, who have already worked in IT, one night before the placement, and I ask them, the know-how of the IT industry. Tell me, what are the important points that I should know, or how do you suggest I should prepare for this position, right? So that is the beauty of it. And also your network in a 1 year MBA is much larger than that in a 2 year MBA. And I'll tell you why. For example, in a 1 year MBA, you are not only networking with your peers, but you are also networking with their existing network. For example, because Harshita has worked previously in some of the top IT firms, right? I also have access to that network because she's a working professional who has now stepped into the MBA. So, for example, if I apply to one of her previous firms for a job, I already have access to that network through her because she has already been working, right? So that is one of the major advantages of a 1 year MBA, right? So your network, the people, you already have one foot in the companies that you probably want to apply to, right? So that is there. And also, of course, the fast-paced learning, right? Now, I think this is a point that scares people a lot, but trust me, it is only adding to your growth, right? So um, imagine doing something. Okay, I read this very amazing quote. It said, give yourself 6 months to do something, you'll do it in 6 months, and give yourself 1 month to do something, you'll do it in 1 month, right? So I think that directly applies to a 1 year program. The learning is, yes, fast paced, but it also kind of makes you more efficient as a professional. Because so when you step into the industry, there are going to be people from a 1 year program, 2 year program, etc. So of course, the amount of time in which you do a particular task will be a lot faster or a lot quicker and efficient as compared to that of others, right? So for example, today we need only about 15 minutes to create a PPT, not more than that, right? So a professional level PPT, just give us 15 minutes and we can do that. Why? Because we did a 1 year MBA program where we had to create probably 4 to 5 PPTs in a day, right? So as a professional, you learn not only how to do work faster but also efficiently, right? So both the things go hand in hand, and we could only learn that because we were in a 1 year program. right? So yeah, I mean, in 2-year program, we speak to some of our peers who are doing a 2-year program, right? Our friends that are who are doing a 2-year program, and we tell them, we don't need like 2 days for this case study. We just need like a couple of hours, right? So I think that is the beauty of it. And also, industry expects you to be fast as a professional. They expect you to do work in a quicker manner.
Not just quicker manner, Ishita, like it is so much pressure when we work.
Yeah.
Like you have certain deadlines which you need to finish. Like there it happens. I have an experience in IT where we get like our manager tells us like we have to finish this in 1 hour. And that is how we have to be on our toes to complete the work. So this 1 year program actually helps you to like explore all your it basically helps you to explore beyond your limitations, because
Yeah.
in 2 years program you know that yeah we have to complete it, but in 1 year program you know that there is a certain deadline which you need to finish it anyhow. You won't get more time for that. So this is how we work in our industries as well. Like as I mentioned, that our managers give us the deadline that you have to finish this work, and we have come from that background where we are able to handle that pressure. So 1 year program is basically like it won't make us lethargic, it won't make us like make ourselves ease. It will always keep us on our toes on completing the work, and we won't be like if we go off after studying as well, when we go back to industry we know that we have been doing this for a longer time now.
Mm.
It is not that we have a gap of 2 years and then again going coping up with that same pace. It won't be difficult for us. So that is something which helps us in 1 year program.
Yeah, and the pressures you feel, you sort of feel or experience in a 1-year program kind of equips you to for the kind of pressure that you may feel in the industry when you step back in, right? So you kind of become immune to pressure, and because you have become immune to pressure, you can work in a more calm manner and in a more productive manner, because it's not there's you're not driven by pressure, you're driven by motivation then. So that is one great aspect of a 1-year MBA. And of course, coming to relevant learning, like we just very briefly mentioned about, the relevant learning happens through not only peer learning, but also the kind of professors that we have, right? So we have professors from the industry. So somebody who has, say, already worked in branding has come to teach us branding, right? So that is also the beauty of it. So what you learn is, so it's like saying learning from the horse's mouth, or hearing from the horse's mouth, hearing from the person who has already worked there. Now imagine somebody from branding is teaching you branding, and on top of that your peers who have also worked in branding are adding their perspective. Then there's someone who has not worked in branding is adding a whole new fresh perspective, right? So that, I mean, that amalgamation of experience and newness is just, it's awesome, right?
Also, for relevant learning, you can say that we don't know things because if someone is there who doesn't have any background in the like you mentioned about the branding, if someone doesn't have an experience in branding, they'll be trying to explore things.
Yeah.
And if someone has experience in branding, they know this has happens and they know that it will happen. But if a new person enters, like he'll be like exploring it more and more, and new perspective will come from that, and that will even help people around that. Even the person who has an experience in branding, he will be thinking that yeah, this is something which I never thought of. So this is what a background or the people with which we are working with helps us a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, meeting diverse people with diverse work ex. For example, I remember I did not come from a finance background. I did not have commerce in my 10+2. So I was slightly struggling with, the basics of accounting, etc. So, but then I had a CA in my class, right? So I would just knock on his door and be like, please, could you just explain this to me? Or, how should I go about it? And probably in like an hour, I think he explained us all the important concepts, and they were crystal clear, right? So the learning happens in a dual mode. You learn in class, and then you also learn outside class through your peers who have already worked in that sector or in that industry, right? So that was very important, because I'm sure, I think same was with you, Harshita.
Yeah, actually, I did my majors in finance, so I don't have any relevant experience in finance, and I'm an engineer basically. So coming here and doing a 1 year MBA program, and that too in finance where I don't have prior experience, helped me a lot to learn from the peers who have that relevant experience, and from the teachers how they taught us, and from the peer. That is a combination of both of them. So you'll learn from your teachers, you'll learn from the faculties, you'll learn from everyone, the industry leaders which are coming, you'll learn from them. You'll grasp few things, but how you'll implement that, you can even learn from your peers, because they have that experience. They know how these things will be applied in the industry. So that is something which meeting with the diverse people which we have, we will learn from that. And not just someone who has a finance experience, even if even if someone who has an experience in construction, how the finance part works there, that is also something we'll be getting to learn, because that guy even though that person has an experience in construction in some part, but he knows how the industry works, how that will happen. So that also gives us a different perspective about in various industries how the part will work.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one of the class discussions was about edtech, because of course during the pandemic the edtech industry saw tremendous growth, and I think that's where I could add a lot of value because I had already worked in edtech, right? So I knew the know-how of the sector. So it's one thing to learn from a case study, to sort of search for a topic on the internet, but it's one thing to listen from someone who has already worked there, because the nitty-gritties that they can share with you, I don't think a case study or a research on the internet can. So that is very, very beautiful. We have and our cohort was extremely diverse, like I mentioned. There's a lawyer, there's a CA, there's somebody who's worked in construction, there are civil engineers, there are mechanical engineers, there are people who have worked in automobile, right? So that was there are people who have worked in BFSI, of course. So that was the beauty of it, because they were speaking from the point of view of their industry. Yeah. So even though say tomorrow I have stepped into the IT industry, but I still have a little bit of knowledge about how things work in BFSI, construction, how it works in automobile, etc. So that's very important, and that is what holistic learning is.
That will give you what Vishita mentioned. You mentioned that learning about the various industries, that is sometimes very useful for us when we are working in our industry, that we know that how we can apply things which is going on in different industry and make ourselves comfortable, and make our work done in this industry, like wherever we are working. So we know that the things these things will be going on, this is how the things will work on. So it is very helpful for us to apply here and get the work done, basically. And also when that experience, like we will learn everything from Google. We say that there is something which we can get from Google, we can get from the books, we can get from the case studies, but the experience what we have, like personal experience, teaches us a lot. No matter it is our personal experience, it is from someone's personal experience, when we hear from that, it teaches us a lot, because there are certain minute details which we won't get in the case study, which we won't get in Google, which we won't get in any of the books. But so small minute details which a personal experience can tell you, that is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the opportunity cost is far less in a 1-year MBA program, because of course, the first opportunity cost is in terms of time, right? You're saving time, you're saving precious time, 1 year of your life. And there's so much more that you can do with that one extra year that you have, right? And of course, there's opportunity cost is far less in terms of money also, right? You're saving an entire year's worth of salary. So you start working, say at 18, 19, 20 lakhs, you are saving that, or you are earning that extra, right? So that is what it is. And yeah, I think we've you want to add to that, Harshita?
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, so I think we've covered all the parameters or all the points that drove us to do a 1-year MBA, and I hope that through this we were able to sort of clear any of the anxieties or apprehensions or even the misconceptions you may have with regards to a 1-year program. And I think we'll open the session for a Q&A. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box, and we'll be very happy to address them. Yeah. Harshita, do you want to talk about the loan structure and how that works, maybe?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we have to get a financial aid and everything, and also the scholarship. If you have you have a good merit based course in your 10th and 12th, you can get the scholarship as well. And also about the loan structure, there are different banks, there are different, you can say, like the connections which the college has with the bank, and that will be very easier for you to apply for the loans and everything. So just you have to apply for that and get in the connections with the bank. So it will be easier for you to not rush for the banks and check all the details, everything. You can just connect with the college and everything, and you'll get the details about the bank. So process of taking the loan and everything will be very easier. And also there are various scholarship as well. Like if you are merit student, you can get the scholarship for that. And also there are certain other parameters which can help you for the scholarship basis. So that is also something which is very important, because
Yeah.
not everyone can. This is a MBA program, and we know the how the college this fees and every structure that has happened. So it is very beneficial, the scholarship and loan structure which is going on.
Yeah. And in soil, we have this beautiful opportunity where you can go for both merit and need-based scholarship.
Yeah.
And apart from that, we also have this amazing opportunity of being an RA, which is a research assistant. So, you can apply to become an RA for, and you'll become an RA for, say, the marketing professor or the HR chair, etc. And through that, you can get some deduction in your fee also. And so there's learning, and there's also just deduction in your fee. So that also is an opportunity that soil offers you. So if you do not have any more questions, we'll probably end the session here. Yeah, do the guests have any questions? Yeah, so we have one question here. Yeah, could you add something about PGPM HR? So sure. Yeah, so the HR cohort, okay. So in soil, in PGPM, you may not necessarily have work experience. Even if you are a fresher, you can apply for the PGPM HR program in soil, which is a one-year program. So in our cohort, we have about 3 to 4 freshers, right? And the rest are people who come with work experience. And let me tell you, even the freshers are doing tremendously well. Yeah, majority of the cohort is already placed, and they're placed in top companies with great packages. So that is there, and it is a one-year program. Yeah, so that is what it is. We have another question. Yeah, what you can also do is probably connect with a few of our friends from the HR cohort through LinkedIn. And, if you have any particular questions, you can probably ask them. You can ask them, and they'll be happy to get back to you. The kind of roles that we got this year were pertaining to HR BP, talent acquisition, HR analytics. Yeah, so that was that.
The wide variety of roles that will be offered.
Yeah. Yeah, and also the HR cohort are also people who come from very diverse backgrounds. For example, one of the guys, he has a lot of experience in B2B sales. There's someone who is a lawyer, and now they're doing HR. So the transition and all of that is not very difficult. It's easy. It was smooth for them, and now they're all placed. We have another question. Yeah. Hi, I'm Swati with profile as follows. Yeah, Swati, that's a very impressive profile that you have. However, I don't think we're in the position to suggest which stream would be suitable for you. It totally depends on the interest that you have, and on the kind of job or the kind of role that you want post your MBA, right? So with this, you can probably so there's no restriction, because you have this profile doesn't mean that you should stick to a particular stream. You can go for any stream, whether it's finance, analytics, marketing, or HR, right? So it's not that your past experience is holding you down. It will only help your learning, right? So I think just go with what your interest is, where your interest lies, and the kind of role you want, or the kind of industry you want to get into post your MBA. Yeah.
And adding on that, like, it is not very difficult to switch the streams. Yeah, if you have the interest and you have that desire to work on that, you will definitely it will be easier for you to switch and learn things. So it is not about the past experience which you have. It is about how you will be working here and how you'll be exploring the things here. So that is very important.
Yeah. So we have people in our batch who have very similar background as you. There are people, so for example, civil and construction. Yeah, so for them also making the switch was not difficult at all. Yeah. Yeah. Do we have more questions? Yeah, so if you do not have more questions, we can end the webinar here. You all can reach out to me and Harshita through our LinkedIn profiles. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to get back to you. You can also write to our college with regards to admission process details, etc. You can just email it to them and they'll be happy to reply back to you. Yeah, you want to add anything, Harshita? Should we close the...
No, that's it. And also, if you have any concern regarding the loans and scholarships, you can definitely write to the college. They'll be happy to help you, and also they'll be giving you in detailed description about what the process is and how what are the criteria are. So that is also something.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us for this webinar, and I hope we cleared all your queries or any of the apprehensions. I hope we were able to mitigate them. And if you want to get in touch with us, please feel free to. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.